Hello and welcome to the full-time report, Arsenal versus West Ham. I'm joined here with Moran and also Rayhan, the Global Gooners. Moran, that performance by the Arsenal just left millions of fans around the world, millions of Arsenal fans depressed. I know different fans are going to handle it differently. There's going to be rants, there's going to be anger, especially on these Arsenal fan TV interviews. Personally, I'm one of those fans that after a loss, I just get very depressed. How are you taking it?
How about we give Rand the floor first? Because I feel like he's more ready than both of us are right now. So,
all right,
Look, man, I don't know how to react at the moment. I need to take some time to vent on Twitter a little bit. I'm trying to calm down. It was a joke, if I'm being totally honest with you. I'm neither angry nor sad. I'm just bemused. It was an absolute shambles. I mean, we went into the game with so much hope based on the preseason that we had, and it's almost as if Arsene Wenger said to the boys, okay, forget everything you've learned in preseason. Let's try and recapture our form from 2011 and 2012. I mean, it's a joke. How can you go into that game with that sort of mentality? In a way, I'm trying not to be so reactionary to this game. I want to be sort of level-headed, and I hope Arsene Wenger will be the same, and hopefully the rest of the fans will be the same. I don't want to write us off for the title just yet, although, you know, my heart was telling me during the game, okay, the season's over before it even began. But I don't want to be too rash. You know, I want to be a bit more mature about it this year. I'm thinking, you know, it was a tough game, but at the same time, hopefully we can bounce back. Because if there's one thing I can say about Arsenal is that we always come back after a defeat like that. We always respond well. It's a shame that in preseason we weren't given a proper spanking like we were today, because this is a real wake-up call. You know, this is the Premier League. We're playing against the big boys, and we got to get ready for that. So hopefully against Palace next week we can string something together.
yeah, I feel like today, you know, just for me personally, I feel like it was overshadowed by, you know, just the whole summer, including today's display of Wenger's stubbornness. I feel like, you know, the only business we've done this summer was check at the beginning of the window. I don't think it was I think it was the last day of June we actually got check signed. And just today, I feel like he just got all his tactics wrong. I mentioned the halftime hangout how I thought he played Chamberlain on the wrong flank. I thought he should have had a go at Tompkins rather than Cresswell, because I felt like Cresswell was just in all facets just a far more superior player than Tompkins. And then I feel like, just me personally, I just cannot have Ramsey and Cazorla playing at the same moment. I feel like they both they sway and they just move into positions that they'll get filled by each other. And it was evident today that when Arsenal, you know, when their plan A doesn't come to fruition, they are stuck with adversity and no way of dissolving it.
Rayhan, you said Arsenal always respond well to games after. I totally agree, but for a title-challenging squad, you need to respond during the match. You know, with responding to adversity, there was nothing today. West Ham hit us with a sucker punch in that first half of the goal, and what did we do? We kind of just folded. I didn't like the way we responded. Did anyone have a good performance today? I can't think of anyone. Chamberlain played well in the first half, but in that second half, I thought he was at fault for that second goal. Poor performance from Czech. Yeah, the only player that had a good game today was Koscielny.
Yeah.
Other than that, Giroud was not up to par as well. You were defending Giroud in that first half, but I know your opinion changed in that second half. He didn't play well at all. And I know you were talking about Wenger's stubbornness, but today it's just also down to the players. Every Arsenal fan had belief in the squad that we have right now, regardless of all this other transfer talk. The squad that we have today should have gotten the job done, and they just did not. Rayhan, what do you want to see in that second half, in that next game against Crystal Palace? That's gonna be a hard place to play. Selhurst Park, always a good atmosphere there. What are the main changes you want to see?
Well, I want them to practice their passing. If you look at today's game, you know, we missed though the percentage was fairly high. You could see during the game the long balls were just so inaccurate. Even the short passes, the passing was just off today. We weren't playing like Arsenal. We were playing like Tottenham today, in my opinion. Absolute shit, if I'm being honest. But let's see, what else is there? Defending. Why on earth were we holding such a high line today? I can't even explain it. I mean, they've got pace with the likes of Sacco up front and even Kouyaté. Very, very quick players. And then we were exposed. I'm expecting the boys to put in proper shifts in on the training ground this week, going into that Palace game. We need to exploit the flanks a bit more, stretch our game out a little bit wide, and when we're in the box, we need to be more decisive. You know, I know we're a passing team, but you got to draw the line somewhere. The game, it's an attacking game. The objective is to put the ball in the net, and we didn't do that today. West Ham kept a clean sheet against us. It's normally the other way around.
Yeah. Moran?
Yeah, I pretty much echo the same sentiments, really. I felt like, plain and simple, Bilic, he executed his game plan far, as expected for himself. I feel like Wenger and just the players I don't know what happened. I feel like maybe Wenger played the players to the ground in the preseason.
No.
I saw many of the first team players playing in their preseason, especially the Emirates Cup. You saw a lot of the first team players maybe, run into the ground, because you saw guys like, Cazorla and Ramsey, they look knackered. Ozil, they look knackered. And when we had to force someone like Sanchez coming off his vacation, he just looked completely knackered. He could not get the right footing. He could not get the right shots off. The last chance of the match was that's usually 10 out of 10. He'd usually finish that, but you can tell it was just
the fact that we had to play Sanchez today was a bit of a joke. To echo the famous Chris Hudson, he just got off a bloody plane, but it's brutal, man. It's brutal. Another player that I thought had a very poor performance was Francis Coquelin. He's trying to play like Andre Pirlo out there, trying to spray 40, 50-yard balls that he can't make. He's got to, as Moran said in the halftime hangout, he's got to stick to his limitations. He does have those limitations, and in that last season, he was sticking to them. He was solid defensively. He was making nice, easy 15-yard passes at most. And today, he looked like a player that was on loan at Charlton. He didn't look like the player that everyone is saying that he's a world-class player.
Ryan, real quick, I'm going to ask you right now, not in terms of the players in next week's game plan. Let's talk a little bit of what business Wenger needs to do. Do we need more than just a striker now?
I think so. I mean, like Jack said, Coquelin did not have his best day today. I think he was trying to do too much. He should sort of stick to his role. I'm not averse to players expanding their skill set in terms of developing the ability to do long balls like Coquelin was attempting to do today. But, there's a time and a place to practice that, and that's in the training ground, that's in preseason. You don't say that for the first day of the Premier League when you want to do some experimental stuff. You need to know what you're going to do. As far as transfer business goes, I would have liked to see Schneiderlin come to Arsenal, but obviously we let that one slip. Once again, we were a little bit naive on the transfer front, only bringing in Petr Cech, who had an abysmal game today, by the way. And I think we do need a striker. I don't know if Benzema's going to be that guy, but Giroud certainly wasn't today. So it's down to Wenger at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you mentioned Arsenal being naive. So again, do we put that on the manager being stubborn? Staying true to the players that he has, because we've known in years past, Wenger stays true and stays loyal to the players he's acquired and he's developed. Guys like even the Deadwood players like Arshavin and Giroud, the center back, of course, Giroud. He stuck with them far too longer, and he just doesn't really take risks as teams like Real Madrid do, or Man City, or Chelsea. Do you think he'll ever learn?
No, because you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's very set in his ways. That's usually the case with elderly managers. They have their values, and as a man, you can respect that because he holds true to his values. But at the same time, you got to find a way out there. If you're struggling in the game, you got to use your football brain to find a way out, get your team over the line. And he didn't do that today. He was sat on the bench, having a chat with Steve Bold, maybe looking at the ground a couple of times. That's not what you want from your manager. You want someone to get up, stand up for your team, tell the boys what they need to do.
I agree with all you guys on those points as well. But with the veteran players that we do have in the squad, it's not like Arsenal teams of past where most players are under 25 now. It's like we have some experienced players in our lineup. We have Santi Cazorla, we have Per Mertesacker, we have Lauren Koscielny, even Debussy, Giroud. They're all senior players. and somebody's got to take responsibility, take leadership on the pitch. I agree, Wenger, he got it wrong today, but we do have the squad to go out there and get the win, and they just didn't perform. It's frustrating because, Brian, what do you say? Manchester United, they lost their first game this season, 3 years ago, and they went on to win the league. But then I look at Chelsea last year, they only lost 3 matches. And to win the league, if we lose 3, we only can lose 3. And we lost 1 today. There's 37 left. That's not a good, historically, you lose the first game. I'm not saying it's over by any means. Who knows what can happen in the Premier League, but it's just not an ideal start at all.
And, I guess you can say, with Wenger's comments recently about all this striker talk of Benzema, I guess karma certainly hit him today because, he said a quote about, the forwards we got, sure they can score 70 odd goals, or we have, I'm looking for goals from all our forwards, but today we didn't get a goal from anybody. And it's just, we just got snake bit today. Ryan, what do you think?
I totally agree. I mean, I respect what Wenger's trying to do in terms of making the team a scoring team as a whole, where goals can come from anywhere, from any player. That's cool. But you need a man to lead the line. And Giroud didn't do that today. Giroud is capable of doing it, but not today. For what reason, I don't know, because we were so successful in preseason. We were looking sharp. Maybe we prepared a bit too much. But as I understand, earlier this week, some players were allowed to go on holiday. I know Ozil went back to Germany for a couple of days to chill out there. I mean, what's up with that? I mean, we're going into the first game of the Premier League season. You got to be sharp. You got to be on the training ground. You got to rest properly. And, I think a lot of these factors come into play in terms of the mental sharpness as well. But I don't know, man. It's really frustrating.
One thing I also want to say, Giroud didn't play well today. We can all agree on that. But I don't think the lack of goal scoring just solely falls on him.
No, that's true.
He wasn't getting any service. I agree, he wasn't good, but he wasn't getting any service. Ozil, Cazorla were poor.
Well, you say he wasn't getting any service, but he got – I remember one opportunity, Chamberlain literally fed the ball to him on a plate, and he had a clear-cut opportunity at the top of the box.
At 1-0.
Without a deflection, that ball was going wide. And another chance, those usual Giroud front post flicks, obviously with his right foot, supposedly.
Okay, that's that's the 93rd minute.
But
that's
still,
the 93rd minute.
You still got the thing is when you're a striker, of course, you're not sometimes on your day you're not going to get the service required. But when you have those 1 or 2 chances, the clinical strikers, the Lewandowskis of the world, the Luis Suarez of the world, they bury those 1 or 2 chances in a match.
I agree, but we all know Giroud's not world class. That's settled. That's settled, man. Okay, it's settled. He's not. He's a very good Premier League striker. He'd be if we get a world class striker in this window, Giroud is going to be one of the best second options in the league.
But the whole team was to blame today. I don't want all this to fall onto
That's the point that I want to make today.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Ozil needs some criticism today. I'm usually a guy that defends Mesut Ozil, but he needs some criticism today. He was not up to par. And Santi Cazorla, he's been. It looked like he's, as Ryan said, taking too many vacations to Ibiza today. He just wasn't on his game, and
we have no more excuses.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line. We've run out of excuses, and it's starting to become embarrassing now as an Arsenal fan, because now we can't use the excuse saying, "Oh, we don't have any money to buy players." That's a lie, and we can't use the injury excuse anymore. We can't use this and that. It's the start of the season. We're supposed to be fresh, looking sharp. I don't know what's going on, man. These players have got to get it together. I mean, in the final third, we just weren't putting it together. Why we weren't able to break down this West Ham defense, I do not know.
Makeshift defense as well.
Yeah.
Makeshift defense as well.
Yeah, and, I'm going to throw a little generalization out there. Because Wenger's at the helm, and, with the lack of, league success of the past, I guess, 10 years since our last league title, 11, sorry, yeah. Has Wenger, had his, how should I say it? Has he instilled his own identity in the club, but in a negative way, the fragility of this squad? Just knowing they're the favorites. Some would say they're the favorites. Some would say Chelsea's pretty even balanced. knowing that they're the favorites on their home soil, could it be that the pressure got to them and really cracked them?
I think it just wasn't our day today. We can't go from the whole summer. Every Arsenal fan is praising Wenger. We can't overreact completely. Can we be angry? Can we be extremely disappointed? For sure. Obviously, it's a terrible performance, and it just makes your blood boil. Because as an Arsenal fan, this is one of those summers that I've had so much excitement. This is the one summer that I've truly gone into the season thinking this could be our year, and that's why it hurts so much today. And I don't think we're not going to have a Wenger in, Wenger out discussion, obviously,
No.
But to pin it just on him is unfair, and we've given him so much praise throughout the summer, and we've all been talking about how our squad's strong enough right now, and I don't think it's fair just to bring up saying our squad's not strong enough, because today our squad was strong enough to get the job done. They just did not get the job done today.
Yeah.
Rand, what do you make of the statement I just made that maybe the team is just too fragile mentally and they just cracked when the pressure was on them?
I don't know, because as you said before, they're going into the season. They are one of the favorites. They're among the favorites, and you would think that they'd have the confidence to do it. But maybe they were overconfident today, because I think everyone sort of expected Arsenal to get the win. I know I did. I went into this game. I woke up with a smile on my face, thinking this is going to be a walk in the park. We're going to whoop West Ham
back.
And a few minutes later, Petr Cech, had a disaster of a game, and the tables have turned. And West Ham had the confidence. We started to lose ours. Then we got a little bit reactionary to what they were doing. We just wanted to. We were in survival mode, basically. We're so desperate to get that goal. But then we lost sight of how we're supposed to play our own game. And we weren't clicking. We weren't gelling properly.
The first goal today was huge. If we got that first goal, I think we completely would have gone on and win the game.
But you say that, but isn't all what makes a champion is overcoming adversity?
I completely agree. That if we let in the first goal, what was the minute we let it in?
43rd.
43rd?
Yeah.
Well, at that point, title-winning teams can come back from that. I was appalled at the way we just gave in. You take a sucker punch, you give a sucker punch back. And today we just kind of rolled over in a little ball. It was unacceptable today, and there's not really much more to say.
Chelsea were down to 10 men yesterday against a far better Swansea team, but they stuck out and saved the point for them. And that's I guess the difference in between Mourinho's side and our side is just they believe with whether it's 11, whether it's 10, they're talented enough to win it. I don't think this squad. I just don't think they believe right now. I just really don't.
Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Moran touched on it earlier. Santi Cazorla and Aaron Ramsey, that box-to-box midfielder spot. We were talking about it a bit through the game, and I don't think they can play together necessarily. I don't like having one of them on the wings. Which one would you pick? Because that's a hard decision, and Moran and I were discussing it all throughout the match. That's a real toss-up. Who do you want to see? Or if you think they can play together, speak your mind. What do you want to see between the decision between those two?
Look, I'm not a fan of Ramsey on the right by any means. Neither is Aaron Ramsey. He's spoken out about that before. He says, he'd much rather be in a center midfield role. It just doesn't make sense. When I saw the team sheet this morning, I'm like, Ramsey on the right. Why is he doing that when Ramsey himself is not comfortable with it, and the team doesn't seem to do quite as well with Ramsey on the right? Doesn't make sense. Going into Palace, I'd probably bench Aaron Ramsey, to be honest. He wasn't looking sharp today by any means. Certainly not one of his best performances. And Ramsey, on the whole, as a player, he's by and large pretty inconsistent. I mean, when he's on his game, he's good. He's unplayable. But then you get those other Aaron Ramsey games where he's just the Aaron Ramsey of old. Like a boy sometimes.
Yeah, and you saw that you saw that today. His passing wasn't sharp. His decision making at all was
the awareness between the players. It just wasn't there. They didn't know where they were in relation to each other to pick out the pass or to create space. I think that was a huge issue today, because West Ham are very compact, and that's when you really have to use your brain and your vision to sort of create space, not only with the ball but your movement off the ball, so you can track the runs of other players and look for where they're heading into. We weren't doing that today, and that's a key foundation of our game at Arsenal. It's all about tracking the runs, looking for the ball in. We weren't doing that today. We were just kicking it randomly and hoping for the best.
As poor as the ball carriers were today in their decision making, I think you touched on a very good point there. No off-ball movement, none whatsoever, and some of that you can credit to West Ham being compact at the back, but also just not enough movement, not creating enough chances, and that's not just on the ball carrier. That's also on everyone around them.
Yeah, but I feel like, at this point, I feel like teams just know how to defend Arsenal. It's been like this for years. They just know, put numbers in the middle. Arsenal are pretty diluted into what to do, and they don't really like playing it out wide. They like always coming back towards the middle. So again, it's tough to digest. One more question I'm gonna say. I don't know how long this has been going for, but obviously our captain right now is Mikel Arteta. He didn't play today. The presence of a motivational leader, the presence of a vocal leader on the pitch, it's priceless. It's it's valuable to a squad, and especially in games like this. Maybe for Chelsea, John Terry would have been uplifting their squad. City, I'm sure Kompany's the one. Though his quality is not that great, he knows how to really uplift his squad. Do we have one right now at the club that can really change with their presence, change the mood of the squad with their presence and with their voice alone?
I think we do have a core group of players. I think
not a core group, but one. Rand, do you think we have one player that can do that?
Man, if I'm being honest with you, I don't even think that's the issue at stake. I mean, that's not top of the priority list at the moment in terms of having a good leader. I think Mertesacker, if you're vocal enough, you can be a good leader. Any one of our players can step up to do that, and Mertesacker's done a good job. But the team as a whole has to be galvanized by the manager. Let's not forget that the manager is the first leader. He's the prime minister of that team, basically. That's what you need. That's where the leadership needs to come from,
For sure.
We were just mentioning mentioned prime minister and such, so we just thought, the election in Canada.
Oh yeah, the debates, yeah.
Yeah. What more can we say? Overall, very disappointing day. It makes it worse with all the hype, the hype behind the season. Probably the most hyped Arsenal season for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And this squad being compared to the Invincibles, well, there goes our Invincible season.
Exactly.
Right there, Game 1 finished.
Better now than in February if we're still undefeated, but still, poor result, poor display. And next week, a tough fixture away at Crystal Palace against a rejuvenated, revamped Crystal Palace side that looks ready to go for a top half finish. That won't be any easy out for any squad.
No way.
It's gonna be a battle, especially in Sellers Park. I think that's a great ground of atmosphere. That's one of those away games that I would love to go see before I leave this earth, and it's gonna be a tough atmosphere. They have a quality side. They got some good signings over the summer. Johan Cabaye. They got the likes of Bolasie, Zaha, Murray up top leading the line. Got physical presence up there. It's going to be a tough game. And we really need to step back. Rayhan, you said we're always good at coming back after games like this. But I want to see what I want to see from next week. If we go down 1-0, get a goal back in 10 minutes. Like, I know when we let in our goal, you said it was the 43rd minute, and we did put a pressure on 5 minutes. Or just the halftime break was a convenient time. It was a good time for West Ham to get their goal today. But if we let the first goal in against Palace, I want to see an immediate response. Rayhan, what are the last words from you there?
You know what, man? You summed it up. I just want to see a good response against Crystal Palace. Put this one behind us, under the bridge. Actually, no. I want to look back at this game and learn from it. I want the players to really learn from what they did today and use that going into the training ground, this coming week to work on the skills and what they did wrong going into that Palace game, and hopefully we can bounce back like we usually do.
All right. Thank you for joining us today for our halftime and full-time reports. We'll be right back here again next week, and What more can we say? Up the Arsenal.